Despite the millions of Whoppers sold each and every year, not every item introduced by Burger King has proven to be a hit. In fact, some have been spectacular failures. These are the biggest flops in Burger King history. In 2015, Burger King executives decided to celebrate Halloween by introducing a spooky new spin on their classic Whopper, the Halloween Whopper, which boasted a horrifying dyed black bun. But that wasn't all. Customers who tried the novelty burger got quite the surprise when they hit the bathroom and discovered an unexpected side effect. It had turned their bowel movements green. As reports of green poop flooded social media, the burger became less known for its Halloween theme than it did for its colorful after effects. The question people began to ask was why a black bun would turn excrement green and not black. Gastroenterologist Dr. Ian Lustbader offered an explanation, telling CBS News that the blame laid with the food coloring used to turn the bun black. Food coloring that isn't entirely absorbed by food material in the gut will pass through the digestive tract. Because Burger King already adds dyes to its regular buns, those existing dyes combined with the new black dye and then mixed with the stomach's yellow-green bile, resulting in the now legendary green poop. Due to the understandable negative buzz around this whole affair, Burger King declined to scare up the Halloween Whopper the following year. Can you blame them? Never once to miss an opportunity to snag a share of the market, Burger King took a page out of Taco Bell's book in 2016 when it introduced the Whopperito. This new menu item contained all of the stuff crammed into the traditional Whopper, but instead of a bun, the whole thing was wrapped up in a tortilla. The other big change was that the usual ketchup, mustard, and mayonnaise condiments were substituted with cheesy queso sauce. Was it a good idea? Well, no. Certainly not according to Newsweek, which viciously lambasted the Whopperito as being, in their words, as disgusting as it looks. At the time, however, Burger King North America president Alex Macedo thought they were really onto something. He told Business Insider, "We know Tex-Mex is growing a lot, and there are not that many national chains that sell burritos. For us, a burrito works well because we get a vast majority of our sales through the drive-thru, and this is something that's portable." Sadly, Burger King's attempt to please both burger fans and burrito fans ended up pleasing neither, and the company ultimately bid adios to the Whopperito.
I want 30 sliders, 5 french fries, and 4 large cherry cokes.
I want the same, except make mine Diet Cokes.
In the 1980s, Burger King had apparently grown envious of the success that White Castle had been experiencing with its mini-sized burgers and saw an opportunity to grab a piece of the action. The result was burger bundles, which were basically a Burger King take on sliders, and were marketed by the company as the perfect grab-and-go snack for eating on the run. Unfortunately, when it came to broiling the small burgers, there was one little problem. The patties were so small they had a tendency to slip through the broiler grates and were constantly getting ruined. The teeny little burgers were later discontinued, leaving White Castle as the true kings of undersized burgers. Burger King's burger bundles may have died off, but the idea for tiny hamburgers didn't. That became apparent in 2008 when the chain introduced BK Burger Shots, which were identical to their predecessors in every way other than one. The buns were attached to each other, resulting in small, conjoined hamburgers, kind of like the bundles, but even more bundled. Burger Shots were billed as a limited-time offer in certain U.S. locations as a test. The move reportedly came after Burger King successfully launched the same product in restaurants throughout the United Arab Emirates called Burger Buddies, which were sold in packs of 6. But Burger Shots didn't last long. The main reason for the product's failure was likely the bizarre advertising campaign used to sell them. One commercial in particular was creepy, bordering on outright disturbing.
Don't go to bed before the king.
Hey, relax. Dude, relax. Oh, damn.
Doesn't exactly make you hungry, does it? In 1992, Burger King executives had the notion that classing up the joint would be a surefire way to bring in more customers. As a result, the chain began offering table service at its restaurants each day between 4 p.m. and 8 p.m., with servers bringing meals right to the table, at a slower pace than usual. There was, however, a hidden agenda lurking behind Burger King's table service: dinner baskets. These all-in-one meals were served in baskets, came in a handful of varieties, and offered the option to substitute a baked potato for fries, along with coleslaw or a side salad. Burger King spokesman Michael Evans said at the time, "With the table service and new dinner entrees, we are reaching out to a consumer segment that may not have before come to a fast food restaurant. Unsurprisingly, neither dinner baskets nor table service were widely embraced by customers, who tended to go to fast food restaurants for, well, fast food. They didn't last long. Yes, the Super 7-incher is called that on purpose. And yes, Burger King really was trying to make the joke you're thinking of. Released in 2009, the burger's name was a painfully obvious double entendre, and the ad campaign really ran with it, featuring, well, this. And if anyone still didn't get the reference, the fine print made it even more blatant, referencing a mind-blowing burger that promised to, quote, fill your desire for something long, juicy, and flame-grilled. The backlash was severe, leading Burger King to shelve the ad and quietly banish the Super 7-incher from its menus. But that wasn't the end of it. The controversy resurfaced several years later when the model in the ad said she was unaware that the photos she was posing for would be used in such a suggestive manner, and accused the company of publicly humiliating her. Real meals were introduced in 2019 to coincide with Mental Health Awareness Month, with each boxed-up Burger King combo representing a different mood. Feeling salty? Burger King had the meal to match the mood, and the customers were pretty brutal.
My boss is such a friggin' creep. I just told him to go himself.
As anyone might have expected, real meals were utterly eviscerated online, with most social media users feeling less salty or depressed and more scathing and sarcastic. One tweeter even congratulated Burger King for ending mental illness the same way Kendall Jenner and Pepsi ended racism, referencing another disastrous ad campaign that had occurred a few years earlier. Another wrote, just punched a hole in my wall thinking about all the money I could have saved last year by just having Burger King instead of having to go to the psychiatric hospital. In 2013, healthy eating was top of mind for many consumers, which wasn't all that great for fast food retailers. Sensing an untapped market for low-fat alternatives to fast food classics, however, Burger King introduced Satisfries. Billed as containing 40% less fat and 30% fewer calories than ordinary fries, the chain likely saw Satisfries as an opportunity to entice health-conscious consumers into sampling a guilt-free French fry. A seemingly solid strategy? Sure, but in practice, not so much. Satisfries bombed big time. Bob Golden, executive vice president at Chicago-based researcher Technomic Inc., hit the nail on the head when he explained why the product was doomed from the get-go. Healthy menu items at fast food restaurants, he explained, target a very narrow audience, illustrating an important truism. People consumed with health will rarely eat fast food, and people who eat fast food are clearly not over-concerned with their health. He said, French fries are an indulgence, just like ice cream. You don't eat them if you're worried about your diet. By the mid-2000s, the world of breakfast was a fast food battleground. McDonald's had long held a solid head start with their iconic Egg McMuffins when Burger King came up with a breakfast sandwich that they hoped would dethrone it once and for all. This product was the enormous omelet sandwich, which boasted a 2-egg omelet topped with 2 slices of American cheese, a sausage patty, and 3 thick strips of bacon, piled high on a hoagie-style bun. Unfortunately, those who dug into the sandwich's nutritional information came away with a few not-so-fun facts. Besides containing more calories than the Whopper, the enormous omelet sandwich also played host a whopping 47 grams of fat. At the time, Burger King's chief global marketing officer said, by expanding our indulgent breakfast sandwich menu, Burger King restaurants now offer even more alternatives for our guests who want a convenient and filling breakfast. Fast food customers do clearly love a hearty breakfast, but apparently drew the line at a sandwich that should have been sold with a defibrillator on the side. The BK enormous omelet was discontinued and never heard from again. Hot dogs and hamburgers have gone hand in hand at backyard barbecues for decades, so why shouldn't that also be the case at Burger King? The fast food chain decided to find out in 2016 by launching grilled dogs. These dogs were available in a standard variety as well as a chili cheese version. Burger King North America president Alex Macedo said at the time, the introduction of grilled dogs just made sense to our guests and for our brand. Burger King was apparently quite bullish on marketing its dogs too. In fact, the chain hired rapper Snoop Dogg and Spanish-American singer Charo to star in a number of humorous ads meant to look like training videos that instructed staff in the proper preparation of the dogs. Snoop in particular was billed as a grilled dogs training ambassador who instructs trainees how to top the restaurant's wieners.
You can top this dog with ketchup, mustard, your relishes, You know relishes ain't nothing but chopped up pickles.
People like burgers. People like pizza. So you'd assume that combining the two would be a home run. And that was clearly the thinking that resulted in the pizza burger. This new Burger King product was launched as a special offering at the chain's locations in New York. In truth, the item was more burger than pizza, being essentially a giant hamburger with pizza-style toppings including pepperoni, mozzarella cheese, pesto, and marinara sauce, all crammed into a 9.5-inch sesame seed bun. The supersized hamburger was then cut into sections and shared like a pizza, designed to feed 6. The New York Pizza Burger was the creation of Burger King's head chef James Sullivan, who described the monstrous meal as a fast food translation of the locavore movement, which aims to connect food producers and food consumers in the same geographic locale. But Burger King's New York Pizza Burger was not for the weak of heart, literally. All in all, it clocked in at an artery-clogging 2,500 calories. In 2002, Burger King decided to shake things up with their Shake 'em Up fries. The concept was pretty basic. The chain's regular fries were served in a bag, along with a cheesy flavor blast packet that was meant to be sprinkled inside. Customers would simply seal up the bag, give the fries a vigorous shaking to coat the fries, and then chow down. A commercial for the new product demonstrated the shaking technique, featuring an array of youngsters agitating their fry-filled bags and then eating the bright orange potato sticks that emerged. Sadly, Shake 'em Up fries didn't make as much of an impact on the marketplace as Burger King had hoped, and were eventually discontinued. Despite the product's failure, however, McDonald's were reportedly developing a similar flavored French fry in 2014. McDonald's tested its seasoned fries in a California location, which looked a heck of a lot like Burger King's version. In fact, the product wasn't even just similar, it was pretty much the exact same process. Fries go in a bag, customer adds seasoning, then shakes and eats. That test was presumably unsuccessful, as the product was never rolled out nationally. Maybe this one just isn't a good idea.
It's tough to imagine a world without Burger King. For over 60 years, the company has provided cheap and filling food to hundreds of millions of customers across the globe. Here are a few things you probably don't know or don't remember about this American favorite.
Break out the burners, cause we grilling this dog my way. Bikinis, martinis, zucchinis. Yeah, you know the rest.
The Whopper sacrifice. In 2009, Burger King created a one-off app which awarded users a coupon for a free Whopper if they deleted 10 people from their friends list. Oh, and the app also sent a message to the friends you deleted, informing them that you valued their friendship at less than 1/10 of a Whopper from Burger King. Facebook shut the app down after only 10 days, claiming it was a massive violation of their users' privacy. In that time, however, the app had already been installed on almost 60,000 accounts. 20,000 of those got their free Whoppers, while 200,000 more people were force-fed a hefty dose of reality. Burger King versus Burger King. In 1952, Gene and Betty Hoots bought the Frigid Queen ice cream store in Mattoon, Illinois. They quickly added burgers and fries to the menu and changed its name to Burger King. They even acquired a state trademark for the name in 1959. A few years later, the real Burger King rolled into town. It was a classic case of David versus Goliath, and in this case, the little guy won. The larger Burger King chain was forbidden from opening a location anywhere inside a 20-mile radius of the Hoots' Burger King. Although the company later offered the Hoots $10,000 to set up shop within the radius, their offer was firmly declined. The restaurant still exists to this day. The Google ad. In 2017, Burger King introduced an ad campaign specifically designed to hijack the devices in viewers' homes. The commercial was basic enough. An actor facing the screen asks,
"Okay, Google, what is the Whopper burger?"
Any Google Home device that picked up the audio would then react by reading aloud the Wikipedia entry for the Whopper. Google didn't appreciate the gimmick. The ad was only effective for about 3 hours after it aired, when the audio was added to a list of sounds that Google Home would refuse to respond to. Easy come, easy go. The BK Sauna. Burger King made headlines in 2016 when they opened their very own sauna. Perhaps unsurprisingly, it's located in Helsinki, the capital of a country populated by 5 million people and 2 million saunas. But only in this one can you relax, make your order, and chow down on a Whopper and some fries. While sweating like crazy, of course. There's enough room inside for around 15 people, making it perfect for private parties. And guests can even purchase robes embroidered with the BK logo. The Burger King sauna has been something of a surprise hit since it opened. And no wonder. Where else can you go to get literal meat sweats?
How's the burger? You probably not supposed to do this, right? Can you win it?
Let's see what happens.
The net neutrality debate. Net neutrality has been a landmark political issue for several years now. As the threat to net neutrality has increased, no small number of celebrities and companies have entered the fray to explain just how devastating it would be if internet providers were allowed to charge more for higher speeds and priority service. In 2018, Burger King broadcast a series of commercials in which customers were asked whether they wanted to pay more for their Whopper to get it faster. The customers paid different amounts based on each Whopper's making burgers per second speed, whilst employees explained that, since the restaurant could make more selling chicken sandwiches, they had decided to restrict access speeds to the Whopper alone.
We don't make the rules.
You just enforce these ridiculous rules?
Fortunately, we have to.
Burger King then directed viewers to a petition aimed at preserving net neutrality. It was a brilliant way to make a realistic comparison between burgers and the potential pitfalls of an unbalanced internet.
Whopper actually taught me about net neutrality. It's stupid, but true.
Crown cards. In 2008, actor and comedian Hugh Laurie sent shockwaves across the world by revealing to The Times that certain celebrities had been gifted their very own lifetime unlimited Burger King crown cards. He also named a number of well-known figures, including Jay Leno and George Lucas, as recipients of the card. Laurie didn't actually have his own card at the time, but was granted one soon after he made his comments to the press, making him the 12th celebrity to receive an unlimited crown card. The Bling Burger. In 2008, Burger King created what they simply called the Burger. Available in just one restaurant in West London, the burger was made with Wagyu beef, pate negra ham, Cristal onion straws, white truffles, and Modena balsamic vinegar. Anyone wanting to sample this decadent beast would first have to fork over €95, or around $125. It was all for a good cause though. 100% of the proceeds from sales of the burger were donated to the Help a London Child charity, an organization which lends a helping hand to children and young people suffering from homelessness, poverty, illness, and abuse. A secret meal. Burger King's most famous secret menu item is the Quad Stacker. It consists of 4 patties, 4 slices of cheese, a layer of bacon, and special sauce. And if that doesn't exactly sound like the healthiest choice on the menu, that's because it's not. No official nutritional information exists for the Quad Stacker, but the Triple Stacker will set you back 640 calories, 42 grams of fat, and 940 milligrams of sodium. Throw in fries and a drink, and you've got yourself a disaster just waiting to happen. Maybe stick to the salad next time.
Planning a visit to your local Burger King? Do yourself a favor and don't order these menu items. From unappetizing calorie bombs to fish sandwiches that might not be so fresh, here are some fast food meals you should absolutely never order at Burger King. Burger King's Single Stacker King is a quarter pounder topped with bacon, cheese, and what the fast food chain calls a special stacker sauce. Calorie-wise, it's nothing too crazy, coming in at a digestible 700 calories. While its big brother is that burger on steroids.
What more do you want? You got the single, you got the double, you got the triple.
Hey, King, I think I might have dripped on you.
The Triple Stacker King is huge, obnoxious, and has more calories than any other item on the Burger King menu. This monster burger includes 3 patties, multiple slices of cheese, and more bacon than anyone should ever consume in a single sitting. In short, it's a beast of a burger that's best avoided. Before getting into the Triple Stacker King's calorie count, remember when critics slammed Burger King for its smoked bacon and cheddar double Angus burger in 2012? The burger was 966 calories, a fact that rattled Tam Fry, a spokesperson for the National Obesity Forum. Fry remarked that, "This burger is the height of irresponsibility, and if left unfettered, the food industry will do nothing to help stem the current obesity epidemic." Well, with its gut-busting 1,370 calories, the Triple Stacker King basically laughs in the face of those critics. And considering how many calories are in this burger, you'd expect every bite to be a taste of beefy heaven. Well, brand eating doesn't exactly give it a winning endorsement. The reviewer felt the burger was good if you wanted a bunch of meat and cheese, but concluded, this was a bit much for me. Considering that it's stuffed with 6 slices of bacon, it's safe to say Burger King's Triple Stacker King is a bit much for everybody. The Big Fish is essentially Burger King's answer to McDonald's Filet-O-Fish, only far more disappointing.
It's fishing season at Burger King.
The good news is that you do get some lettuce, pickles, and tartar sauce to help you choke it all down. Meanwhile, the breaded Alaskan pollock fillet is reportedly left in a warming tray for far too long. One supposed former Burger King employee wrote on Reddit that, "The Burger King I worked at had the same 2 or 3 fish fillets in the warmer for entire days sometimes." We sincerely hope that's an exaggeration, but other employees have made similar claims about the sandwich, telling presumably horrified Reddit readers that they also keep some surplus so they don't have to make it new each time someone orders it, so you may be getting old fish. Let's say you order the big fish because of its relatively low 510 calories. Can you at least expect it to taste good? According to Business Insider, the answer is absolutely not. The website reviewed 7 fast food fish sandwiches, and the big fish came in 5th. The reviewer wrote, "This fish is gray and sad, like the last lonely tuna at the fish market." In other words, this is one fish you'll want to toss back. The Bacon King consists of 2 beef patties, a few slices of American cheese, and 6 strips of bacon that's all but drowned in ketchup and mayo.
All right, we're gonna take you for the tour. First floor, bun. Second floor, 2 patties. Third floor, penthouse, 6 strips of bacon, sesame seed roof.
As pointed out by Paste, the burger is also an exact replica of Wendy's popular Baconator. Is there no honor amongst fast food chains anymore? Beyond that, it seems like the only thing that differentiates the Bacon King from the Double Stacker King is that they left off the Stacker special sauce, opting instead for ketchup and mayo. When all is said and done, the Bacon King reigns supreme when it comes to calories, saturated fat, and sodium. In other words, you'll have to cycle for several hours to burn off the 1,040 calories and 26 grams of saturated fat. Here's hoping you have an especially perky spin instructor. Fast food is often relatively easy on the wallet, but sometimes you have to wonder if the deal is too good to be true. Case in point, Burger King's chicken nuggets. In 2018, the company rolled out this promotion.
Has the king gone crazy? He's offering 10 crispy, juicy white meat chicken nuggets for just $1.
Wendy's and McDonald's certainly doesn't offer that sort of deal on chicken nuggets. While 10 nuggets for $1 is a good deal, it begs the question, why are they so cheap? It might be a classic case of getting what you pay for. To that end, one Chowhound user bluntly declared, "BK's chicken nuggets officially suck. They were flat, think half the thickness of a McD's nugget, tasteless, and the meat was unidentifiable." And Business Insider isn't a big fan of the nuggets either, writing that, "They're firm but not crispy compared with other options. These nuggets have a spongy texture that feels questionable. Thanks, but no thanks, Burger King. We'll be getting our chicken nugget fix elsewhere." Clearly, Burger King isn't winning any points when it comes to burger creativity, and the Rodeo King is another big disappointment.
Answer the question! Did you order the rodeo burger?
The burger is really just the Bacon King, only they slapped on a few onion rings and swapped out the ketchup for barbecue sauce. That's it, folks. Nothing else to see here. Burger King did somehow manage to jack up the burger's calorie count, and at 1,480 calories, it has even more calories than the friggin' Triple Stacker King. Oh, and we sure hope you like a good morning walk.
Burger King for breakfast? Yes, there's such a thing.
Because you're going to be walking for hours and hours and hours to shed the calories packed into this burger. Doesn't that seem like an awful lot of work for a few extra onion rings and a bit of barbecue sauce? You might think we're being unfairly harsh about the Rodeo King. Is it perhaps bursting with juicy flavor that makes up for these high-calorie crimes? If only that were the case. Grubgrade's reviewers said they wished the burger had more bread to make up for the overwhelming saltiness. And a supposed Burger King employee wrote on Reddit that the burger is basically a stomachache just waiting to happen. Sometimes it's the seemingly low-key menu items you have to worry about. Let's say you walk into your local Burger King because you want to see if you still love a Whopper the way you did as a teenager. Perhaps you think ordering the Whopper Jr. is a smart choice. After all, it's only 310 calories compared to the Whopper's 660 calories, but not so fast. Whatever you do, don't order that Whopper Jr. because you may come to regret it, and not just because it's one of Burger King's most bullied burgers.
Did you bully this burger? Well, yeah. This is a defenseless Whopper Jr. He can't defend itself. You don't mean anything by it. It's just for laughs.
Here's the lowdown on this seemingly innocent junior burger. It appears the Whopper Jr. is a highly unpopular burger. If the Burger King menu was high school, the Whopper Jr. would win the superlative of most forgettable in the yearbook. And since it's an unpopular choice, the patties are reportedly not so fresh. That is, if one alleged Burger King employee can be believed. Writing on Reddit, the supposed Burger King staffer said, "Never, never, never buy the Whopper Jr. Not enough people buy them, so they just sit out and go bad." This rabble-rousing Redditor goes on to say that the burgers simply take too long to make fresh, and apparently, managers tell employees to use the super old patties that have been sitting around for a while. Yikes. Of course, eating at Burger King isn't doing your health any favors, so if you really want a Whopper, just go ahead and order the real deal. That way, you apparently have a much better chance of getting a burger that's made fresh. If you want chicken, don't go to Burger King. It's not their specialty, and you're likely to get something that leaves you feeling totally disappointed.
When it comes to flame grilling, the king always outranks the colonel.
Does he though? Because in a fast food grilled chicken sandwich showdown, Eat This Not That ranked Burger King's grilled chicken sandwich dead last. The reviewer even said that the chicken tastes dry and artificial and has a quote, jarring floral nuance. Since then, Burger King has swapped out the mayonnaise for honey mustard, but it doesn't seem to have helped much. One YouTube reviewer said the sandwich just doesn't have a whole lot of flavor, and people on social media are similarly underwhelmed. Another unsatisfied customer wrote on Twitter, "I just tried the new grilled chicken sandwich. I took one bite and almost vomited. For $5, you should be ashamed of yourself." Meanwhile, another customer wrote, "Tell me how you pay almost $6 for a grilled chicken sandwich, not the meal, just the sandwich, and there's more bread and lettuce than chicken." According to one supposed Burger King employee on Reddit, it's not the best idea to order the sandwich if you're in a hurry. The chicken is usually grilled only after somebody puts in an order, and that can take quite a bit of time. A word to the wise, you're at Burger King, so order a burger instead. Considering that the plant-based Impossible Whopper isn't available at every Burger King, it may seem a little premature to add the item to this list, but we have our reasons. First off, it's probably not a bad idea to double-check your burger patty when you order an Impossible Whopper.
It's made of f***ing beef right here, you see that? That's beef.
We swear, it's not beef.
Don't be so sure about that. A Burger King in Brooklyn, New York was reportedly caught misleading customers into thinking they were getting a vegan Impossible Whopper, but they were actually served regular Whoppers with beef. Then there's the issue of the sandwich itself. You might think the Impossible Whopper is a healthier alternative to the beef Whopper, but that's not necessarily the case. Sharon Zarabi RD, director of the bariatric program at Lenox Hill Hospital, told Healthline, "Health-wise, I don't think it makes much of a difference. I wouldn't define it as healthier, I would define it more as ethical. While it does have a lower cholesterol level, the Impossible Whopper has a lot more sodium than the traditional Whopper, a whopping 1,080 milligrams compared to the 980 milligrams in a beef Whopper. Social media seems divided on the Impossible Whopper's taste. One dissatisfied customer wrote on Twitter, "Impossible Whopper tasted like a dry, bland garden burger, while Whopper tasted like beef. Not impressed." Meanwhile, other customers seem to like it, with one fan inelegantly tweeting, "I tried the Impossible Whopper and I'm a happy camper. I'm glad more fast food places are getting vegetarian options that don't taste like absolute ass." Meanwhile, this lady was way into it.
You have to take a bite. It's delicious.
You want a piece?
It's really good.
Of course, everyone has their own reasons for wanting to try the Impossible Whopper, but if you're getting it because you think it's the healthier choice, you may want to think again. Burger King has relied on their signature croissant to entice early rising customers since the early 80s.
Our sizzling bacon, tender ham, or sausage.
While there's a wide variety of croissant to choose from, we're more concerned about the sausage-on-sausage variety. The doubled-up sausage version is a gasp-worthy 710 calories. Burger King's signature Whopper has fewer calories than that, coming in at 660 calories. And here's some more bad news for you. A lot of people on Reddit seem to think the quality of the croissant has gone way downhill in recent years, with one customer writing, "I had the croissant a few weeks ago and it was very underwhelming." Another unhappy camper wrote, "I tried ordering one a few times the past year or so and I never finished them, and I just can't stomach their eggs anymore for some reason." Maybe your local Burger King has a delicious croissant that's on point. And if not, you gotta admit, a breakfast that contains 710 calories and tastes like piping white-hot trash is a terrible way to start the day. We recommend marching on until you find a healthier breakfast option.
Before the Big Mac, before the Quarter Pounder, there was the original iconic fast food burger, the Whopper. And fans of the Whopper don't clown around.
I want my Whopper.
No matter how much you love it, though, there are some things you may not know about the Whopper, like the cruel social media experiment that was actually banned by Facebook. What got Mark Zuckerberg so flame-broiled under the collar? Here's the untold truth of the Whopper. The birth of the Whopper. In 1957, Burger King co-founder Jim McLemore came up with a brilliant idea. Take their flame-broiled burgers and make them real big. He explained in his autobiography, "I suggested that we call our product a Whopper, knowing that this would convey imagery of something big." The Whopper went unchallenged in the fast food market for years. The Big Mac wouldn't be introduced until 1968, and the real competitor with the Whopper, the Quarter Pounder, didn't appear until 1972. The Whopper spread like beefy wildfire across America, and a legend was born. The Whopper Jr. The Whopper Jr. is pretty much exactly what it sounds like. The same as a Whopper, just smaller. It seems obvious, but like so many juniors in this world, it actually only exists because of an accident.
You get back here! Get back here!
I wish I'd never been broiled!
In 1963, a Burger King employee in Puerto Rico named Luis Perez opened up his store for the first time, only to find that the molds needed to make the bread for the restaurant's Whoppers hadn't been delivered. Thinking fast, Perez decided to use traditional hamburger buns as a substitute. He gave it the name Whopper Jr. The restaurant chain adopted the idea soon after, and Perez was eventually admitted into Burger King's own Hall of Fame for his ingenuity. The Whopper family. Over the decades, Burger King has offered up more variations on the Whopper theme than any one person could possibly eat. The many versions include the Angry Whopper, the California Fresh Whopper, the Piñata Whopper, the Halloween Whopper, and even the Windows 7 Whopper. And they've also used the Whopper to make progressive social statements, like in 2014, when they introduced the LGBTQ-friendly Proud Whopper, which was a regular Whopper in a rainbow wrapper that had the words "We're all the same inside" written in it. Then there's the infamous left-handed Whopper and the Chocolate Whopper, which were both April Fool's jokes.
Chocolate Whopper.
Not so funny, though, was their least popular Whopper variant, a 2013 edition that accidentally included horse meat. Luckily, this edible equine issue was confined to the United Kingdom and Ireland and was quickly resolved. We don't think the world is quite ready for the horse Whopper. Crunching the numbers. So just how many types of Whopper are there? One of the original slogans for the sandwich is the claim that there are 1,024 ways to have a Whopper. While that may have once been true, thanks to all the new optional ingredients the chain has introduced over the years, the current number of possible Whopper permutations is now actually 221,184. Are you ready for the new math Whopper? Breakfast burger. In 2014, Burger King experimented with adding the Whopper to its breakfast menu. Around 5,000 of the chain's restaurants participated in the program, which was dubbed Burgers at Breakfast. Burger King's rival, McDonald's, struck back by introducing an all-day breakfast menu in 2015, a move which seemed to make a lot more sense as pancakes for lunch is likely to be a lot more popular than trying to get people to eat burgers for breakfast.
I don't want lunch. I want breakfast.
Yeah, well, hey, I'm really sorry.
Yeah, well, hey, I'm really sorry too.
Ellen tells a Whopper. How significant is the Whopper's impact on society? Not only is it delicious, it also gave us the legendary talents of Ellen DeGeneres. Yes, it's true. DeGeneres explained on Oprah's Masterclass that her first impromptu stand-up routine was based around eating a Whopper.
And they said, will you get on stage and do something funny? So I brought a Whopper and fries and a shake.
She then began to talk, only to interrupt herself with a bite of food over and over until she ran out of time, finishing the meal but not the sentence. Someone in the crowd liked the routine enough to offer her a stand-up gig, and the rest is Whopper history. Whopper whoopsies. Burger King has a long history of putting together some of the most memorable and viral ad campaigns ever, from their educational net neutrality burger ads to the Whopper freakout clip where they told angry customers the Whopper had been discontinued forever.
It sucks.
It's nuts and it's ludicrous and it's stupid. The Burger King doesn't have the Whopper. They might as well change their name to Burger Queen.
Yeah.
In 2008, for example, the company ruffled feathers with a Whopper ad showing how people around the world who had never eaten fast food before reacted when fed a Whopper. Called Whopper Virgins, the short film drew fire from critics who felt it was an insulting, embarrassing, and offensive example of cultural colonialism. Nearly a decade later, Burger King made headlines again for their ill-advised 2017 OK Google viral campaign. In the ad, a Burger King worker says,
But I got an idea. Okay, Google, What is the Whopper burger?
The ad was designed to trigger the viewer's Google Home device to read aloud from the Whopper's Wikipedia page. Clever, right? Well, maybe a bit too clever. Almost instantly, online pranksters began messing with the Wikipedia entry. As a result, Google began cheerfully fully reporting wildly inaccurate nonsense, such as that the Whopper contained rat meat and toenails, included cyanide, was made from children, and caused cancer. Google was not amused, and barely 3 hours after it started, the campaign was shut down. Amazingly, that wasn't even Burger King's most infamous viral prank. Back in 2009, Burger King trolled Facebook users with one of the most vicious ad campaigns of all time. Called the Whopper Sacrifice, the campaign promised people a coupon for a free Whopper if they unfriended 10 people on Facebook through a special app. The app would then send a notification to everyone who was defriended to let them know their friendship was only worth 1/10 the price of a Whopper. Burger King then doubled down, offering victims the chance to send the person who unfriended them an angrygram, which consisted of a Whopper and a personalized note telling them off. After Facebook complained, Burger King shut down the app, but not before nearly 234,000 people were unfriended in exchange for Whoppers. So if you ever thought the Burger King looks like a mean-spirited sociopath, turns out you were right all along.
Ever wonder why Burger King's logo looks the way it does? Or how the fast food giant keeps you coming back for more again and again? You'll have to watch until the end to find out all of the tricks Burger King uses that you fall for every single time. In 2021, Burger King revamped its image for the first time in 20 years. They did this by tapping into a more retro look with a simplified logo, curvaceous font style, and bold color scheme. The new imagery calls to mind the fun-loving times of decades past, more similar to the groovy and vibrant style that was widely fashionable during the 1960s and 70s. In fact, Burger King had already used this retro logo from 1969 to the early 1990s. Nostalgia is such an effective gimmick that the fast food giant keeps cashing in on the same marketing strategy. According to Psychology Today, numerous studies show that feelings of nostalgia tend to spark overwhelmingly positive emotions. We often lean into the past when the present is filled with hardships. Catering to society's tendency for nostalgia can have a comforting effect on a company's customer base.
Hold the pickle, hold the lettuce, special orders, don't upset us. All we ask is that you let us serve it your way.
So it makes sense for Burger King to turn back time with its design. Not to mention that the warm and fuzzies can make us spend more, according to a 2014 study published in the Journal of Consumer Research. Onion rings are glorious when they're done right. There's nothing like munching through the crunchy seasoned shell to the tender slice of onion that melts in your mouth. Each bite alternating between crispy and succulent, the taste gracefully turning from salty to slightly sweet. Plus, they usually come with a tangy dipping sauce that only serves to enhance the experience even further. When you look at a picture of Burger King's onion rings on the menu, they look well seasoned and perfectly elliptical. But when they arrive, you bite into bland mush. Why? It turns out that Burger King doesn't put whole onion slices in their onion rings. Per the ingredient list, it appears that a breaded ring is formed around a dehydrated onion paste, resulting in almost zero texture. Yet the picture looks so promising that it keeps calling you back for more, in the hopes that maybe this time they'll be everything you've been hoping for. When Burger King recently overhauled its color scheme, it ditched the blue and focused instead on a red and yellow logo and website design. According to Insider, yellow creates a sense of comfort and red stimulates the appetite.
Cut!
When combined, marketing experts refer to this as the ketchup and mustard theory. Registered dietitian Kari Hartel explained just why these colors were used so prominently for marketing restaurants. Red activates your appetite so much that it's often used in restaurant logos, on menus, and on tablecloths and napkins. Hartel then elaborated on why experts believe the color yellow is so effective at stimulating your appetite. The color yellow has also been found to stimulate your appetite because yellow is associated with happiness. Your brain actually secretes more serotonin, a feel-good hormone, when you see yellow. So when you look at the warm glow radiating from Burger King's color scheme and you're suddenly overcome by a sense of joy and a hankering for a cheeseburger, there's a good chance it has something to do with the spectrum of color your eyeballs are soaking up. If you've noticed more kiosks at fast food restaurants, you're not alone. Business Insider has referred to this development as the kiosk craze, serving as a sign of the times and a dramatic shift towards automation, changing the fast food industry as we know it. In an increasingly digitized world, more people are preferring to order their food through a kiosk rather than interacting with other human beings. Deepthi Prakash, Global Director of Product and Marketing at TBWA Worldwide, tells the Wall Street Journal that customers tend to feel less judged for what they're ordering through a kiosk, thus ordering more food on average. So if you find yourself surprised by a bigger bill when you're done ordering at a Burger King kiosk, it's probably because you feel a lot more comfortable being extra indulgent when you aren't under the watchful eyes of another human being. Hope Neiman, Chief Marketing Officer at Tilster, told Forbes why digital kiosks are able to get customers to spend more while ordering. With kiosks, we are able to be smart about what menu items to showcase, which makes it easier to upsell or cross-sell. You're not just growing your top line, but also your bottom line, and that's where this technology thrives. There is nothing more valuable than customer loyalty when it comes to business, so most companies try to find ways to keep you coming back. In late 2021, Burger King rolled out a new loyalty program dubbed Royal Perks at most of its locations. The program gives customers points in the form of crowns to redeem on future purchases. For every dollar spent on the Burger King mobile app or website, customers receive 10 crowns in addition to daily perks like free upsizes. Whitney Gretz, VP of Digital and Loyalty at Burger King, explains to QSR that increased digital engagement from customers means that Burger King can obtain their data and use it to target them with more personalized ads. In other words, the more money you spend through Burger King's loyalty program, the more your data will be shared, which makes it easier for the chain to find better ways to lure you into spending even more money at its restaurants. You've probably noticed that the prices for just about everything being sold often end in 95 or 99 cents. Even though a few extra pennies doesn't really add up to any significant savings, the fact that the leftmost digit is still less than the next dollar amount has an enormous impact on your financial decision-making. According to Psychology Today, this is what's known as the left digit effect, a psychological phenomenon that warps our perception of product prices. Because we read them from left to right, using a slightly smaller number first in the sequence tricks us into thinking we're getting a good deal, even if it's only a small difference in price. How important is an extra cent to you? Is there a single valuable item you can buy in today's world for a penny? Yet, a 2009 study in the Journal of Consumer Research consistently demonstrates that this marketing scheme has enough power to manipulate your spending behavior. When you think you're getting a much better deal than you really are, you're more likely to mindlessly splurge on a bacon cheeseburger. Burger King sure knows how to cash in on mocking McDonald's. In an open jab at Ronald McDonald, Burger King offered free Whoppers to anyone dressed up like a creepy clown at select locations on Halloween in 2017. Even though McDonald's sacked Ronald due to society's growing disenchantment with clowns, Burger King's eerie campaigns are clearly forms of psychological warfare to keep McDonald's imagery tethered to the creepy jester that it's so desperately trying to break away from.
I want my Whopper.
Mocking McDonald's may create amusing publicity stunts and reward Burger King with extra press coverage, but it effectively distracts consumers from the fact that the food is nearly identical in every way. Both menus mostly consist of ultra-thin beef patties, fried potato sticks drenched in salt, and carbonated sugar water. In fact, some of the main menu items are only 1 or 2 calories away from each other. While you're laughing and giving points to Burger King for a sick burn, you're probably not focused on the fact that its food isn't any better for you than McDonald's. Finding a highly accurate calorie count that's truly reflective of your meal at Burger King can prove quite difficult. Looking at Burger King's online menu, what stands out most are the deliciously vibrant images of their food. Under the pictures in a large, bold font is the name of the menu item. In a slightly smaller font, just under the name, comes the price tag. Finally, in the smallest size and in a shade of color so pale that it practically blends in with the background, is the calorie count. If your vision is even just slightly less than stellar, you could easily miss it. This same tactic is also deployed on drive-thru menus. Beyond the visuals, the nutritional value listed tends to be for the entree only, not the combo. If you decide to order a medium combo with a drink and a side, that number could easily double. To further complicate matters, the calorie counts advertised at some restaurants aren't always accurate. The New York Times reported that researchers have detected alarming disparities at restaurants across the country between the calories advertised and actual test results. And it doesn't help that the FDA allows for a 20% margin variation. Burger King is in the business of instant gratification thanks to thousands of locations worldwide and minimal drive-thru wait times. This means that Burger King is uniquely poised to take your order, prepare your meal, and launch its fat-laden food into your mouth in about the same amount of time as the average phone call. Brian Solis, a digital anthropologist who studies technology and its impact on society, writes in Forbes that instant gratification actually increases impatience. And what do increasingly impatient people crave? Instant gratification. The process triggers an endless loop that feeds itself. And Burger King is without a doubt a significant part of that system as one of the biggest fast food chains in the world. To make matters worse, because fast food stimulates the reward system in your brain, there's also an insidiously addictive component to this process. Disturbingly, these effects can still manifest themselves even if you aren't eating, according to a study published in Psychological Science in 2010. When you find yourself feeling extra annoyed as you wait, it's probably because companies like Burger King are happily enabling some of your worst traits. The more money you dish out, the faster the chain can sharpen its ability to serve you. And the more impatient you become, the more likely you are to seek even more instant gratification, most likely in the form of a Whopper.
Burger King's vast selection is a crucial part of choosing the best meal to sate your hunger, but being spoiled for choice can easily become a problem. In order to help you, let's take a look at some of the most popular Burger King menu items ranked worst to best. Look, Burger King's onion rings are fine when you want a quick fix of deep-fried, greasy crunch to go with the rest of your meal. However, there's a reason they come dead last in our ranking. All told, they're only onion rings in the sense that they're ring-shaped and filled with something vaguely onion-like. Onion rings should be, well, rings of onion, battered and deep-fried to crispy perfection. It's right there in the name. Yet the Burger King take on this classic side dish means that they avoid the whole actual onion ring component. Instead, the ring is essentially all about that crispy breading, with the onion component coming in the form of a paste with a vaguely artificial flavor. That said, Burger King's onion rings come across as circles of decent, vaguely onion-tasting batter and little more. We're not saying this is a wholly bad thing. There's certainly a time and a place for the Burger King onion rings experience, but even then, the chain has far more delicious sides on the menu. Everyone wants to at least try to eat healthy on occasion. However, when you walk through the doors of a Burger King, you've already made a dietary decision. Sure, you can still try to correct course and order the Burger King crispy chicken garden salad, but that might actually be an even worse decision than going all in with that delicious burger. The crispy chicken garden salad actually manages to disappoint on two fronts. Not only is it a salad when you could be enjoying a burger, but there's a decent chance that it actually packs more calories than said burger. Dietitian Sue Heikkinen told Mashed, "This 870-calorie salad will eat into your calorie budget more than a Whopper, and a salad with 71 grams of fat in is a far cry from a light meal option. That Whopper, by the way, carries an average of 657 calories. Sorry, crispy chicken garden salad. You taste decent as far as fast food chain salads go, but as long as you insist on depriving us of a delicious burger while still bombarding us with all those calories and fat, your rightful place is always going to be near the bottom of the list." Burger King's all-white meat chicken nuggets seem like a bit of an afterthought, to the point where it can be easy to forget that the chain sells them in the first place. They're not awful, but they're still on the lower end of the fast food chicken nugget spectrum. Knowing this, it's easy to see them as little more than an attempt to counter McDonald's famous Chicken McNuggets in a "look people, we can do this too" kind of way. The main issue with Burger King's nuggets are their taste and texture. They're pretty dry, and the breading can be unpleasantly sturdy and crunchy, so the general softness of the nugget isn't adequately counterbalanced. Though the nuggets are surprisingly well seasoned, the texture trouble takes away from the experience. You may very well find yourself relying heavily on your dipping sauce of choice, which unfortunately does very little to solve the textural issues. The Whopper Jr. isn't a bad-tasting burger by any means. It's just very, very difficult to place it anywhere higher on this list simply because it's so derivative. Per Reader's Digest, one of the chain's best-known burgers was hardly the product of careful market research. Instead, franchisee Luis Arenas Perez created the burger as a last-minute improvisation when he was opening up a new location in 1963 and realized he was all out of large Whopper buns. The Whopper Jr. proved popular and earned its creator all sorts of acclaim, but at the end of the day, it's still a Whopper, only there's less of it. Plus, it tends to look far less appetizing than its larger sibling.
Are you out of your mind?
Only one Whopper gets busy in this house.
On paper, the Sourdough King seems like such a good idea. Take everything that's great about Burger King's burgers and stick all that goodness between 2 slices of delicious toasted sourdough. That's virtually gourmet. What's not to like?
I'm a fan of the King's sourdough buns.
Quite a lot, in fact. Both the Impulsive Buy and Brand Eating have pointed out that the 2018 version of the Sourdough King wasn't all that mind-blowing. The outlets also went on to state that the sourdough was more like thoroughly unimpressive toast. The highlight back then was a creamy secret sauce, which isn't present in the current incarnation of the menu item, which relies on ketchup and mayo instead. What's more, user experience alleges that the bread problem hasn't exactly corrected itself. Twitter users have posted images of what appears to be Sourdough King burgers that look an awful lot like they're made with none other than untoasted white bread. That's not necessarily a bad thing. It actually sounds kind of delicious in some contexts. But it also sounds like a 2 a.m. novelty sandwich instead of something that you'd market as Sourdough King. The hand-breaded crispy chicken sandwich is Burger King's hyped-up entry into the chicken sandwich wars. Which is fine and all if you forget that this is a hamburger chain dipping its toe into what was originally a tug-of-war between Chick-fil-A and Popeyes. This means that it risks being a little bit of a novelty product for a fast food burger chain. Unless, that is, it turns out to be way more delicious than its chicken sandwich war competitors. Unfortunately, this isn't the case. The hand-breaded crispy chicken sandwich is a nice addition to the Burger King menu, and in other circumstances, it might rank considerably higher on this list. However, the very fact that it's posited as the chain's answer to Chick-fil-A and Popeyes means that our taste buds end up comparing it to the competition instead of its fellow Burger King products. That's a tall order for what's essentially a burger chain's side hustle. Though the crisp, crunchy Burger King sandwich doesn't surrender to its competitors without a fight, it ends up losing by a noticeable margin. We'd really love to like the Impossible Whopper more. Almost every omnivore could probably do with a little less red meat in their lives. And a delicious plant-based patty in an otherwise classic Whopper sure seems like the ticket to do this in an easy and tasty way.
Tastes like a Whopper. Tastes like a Whopper. Tastes like a beef burger.
As such, the idea behind the burger is solid. There's just one little problem. As it stands, the Impossible Whopper is a confusing and underwhelming product. Per Impossible Foods, the burger's a little problematic if you like to keep things fully vegetarian, let alone vegan, due to the fact that, according to the fine print on the promotional page, the patty is, quote, cooked in the same oil as meat and cheese products. This wouldn't be such a huge problem if the patty tasted so great that meat eaters could casually switch allegiances to the Impossible side. Unfortunately, when it comes to taste and texture, the Impossible Whopper ranks dead last among popular fast food meatless burgers. This is because the patty's dry consistency joins forces with the moister parts of the burger to create a comparatively underwhelming experience. Burger King's breakfast menu is pretty sizable, though it's far from the greatest fast food breakfast out there. There's also the fact that the chain's signature breakfast item is arguably the croissant-wich, while the pancake platters and enormous burritos and whatnot are largely the kinds of fare you can get elsewhere. So where does this leave the bacon, sausage, egg, and cheese biscuit then? In a pretty decent place, actually. Burger King's bacon isn't all that super, but together with the ample amount of cheese stacked between the components, they managed to elevate the sausage, egg, and buttermilk biscuit into more than the sum of its parts. It's not the greatest thing on the breakfast menu and can't hold a torch to the majority of the burgers, but it's a pretty decent way to stock up on calories in the morning. Yes, another Whopper fails to make the top 10, but for a very different reason than the Whopper Jr. The triple Whopper with cheese is a meal all unto itself. It's also solid proof that there can indeed be too much of a good thing. The Whopper usually benefits from its comparatively generous layer of vegetation, but when you stack 3 of those delicious flame-grilled quarter-pound patties on top of each other, the lettuce, pickles, onions, and tomato are reduced to a tiny oasis in the lawless, multi-layered meat wilderness. Burger King's flame-grilled beef is great, but at the end of the day, we're still talking about fast food burger patties instead of steak. As such, when they completely overshadow the rest of the burger, the balance of the Whopper experience is thrown off. No amount of condiments can fully salvage the whole. Objectively speaking, the original chicken sandwich has no business ranking above its cool, modern, hand-breaded crispy counterpart. However, fast food doesn't really have anything to do with objectivity, does it? This long, relatively soggy combination of a chicken patty, lettuce, and mayo in a bun has been around for a long time, and judging by the fact that it survived Burger King's recent chicken sandwich cull, it's pretty clear that the company recognizes the menu item's elusive it factor. At the end of the day, the original chicken sandwich is a classic for a reason. It's simply a very comforting thing to eat. Taste-wise, the original chicken sandwich is a simple affair, unburdened with the need to surf the waves of fast food trends. Looks-wise, it can be downright unappealing. Still, don't let its relatively low ranking on this list fool you. This is simple fast food for the times you want nothing but simple fast food, and it doesn't pretend to be anything else. When it comes to fast food fries, Burger King's classic fries are almost aggressively alright. They may not be able to hold a torch to the criminally delicious McDonald's fries, but then again, they most certainly have nothing to fear from the limp crinkle cuts you might get from White Castle. If you're looking for a thick, hand-cut style fry with the exact right amount of crunch, just waiting to be enjoyed with ketchup and dipping sauce, Burger King has your back. On the other hand, fans of fries that actually taste like something before you add a ton of condiments and spices in the mix may be disappointed by these. Fries are a side by nature, so even if they're not particularly tasty, they usually work well with a solid burger or sandwich, as long as their texture is on point. Fortunately, Burger King has that part of their fry game down to a T. These fries have a very satisfying fluff underneath the awesome crisp. While a food item as relatively bland as this would normally have no business being anywhere close to this high, this expert texture game makes Burger King's French fries a natural midway point on this list. Burger King's French fries may be somewhat lacking in flavor, but that doesn't mean the chain doesn't know its way around a deliciously unhealthy potato. Consider, for instance, the humble cheesy tot. As the company's website puts it, these delicious little balls are nothing more or less than melted cheesy potato bites covered in a crunchy breadcrumb coating. The amazing taste explosion that this description magically conjures in your mouth, they taste exactly like that, and it's awesome. If there is a downside to the cheesy tots, it's that you have a very short window of opportunity to consume them while they're still at that optimal stage of crispy meltiness. So either you focus entirely on them while neglecting the rest of your order, or risk diminishing your tot experience considerably after that window closes. When Burger King lets its proverbial hair down, all sorts of hamburger magic can happen. Only sometimes it's dark magic. We've told you before that you should probably avoid the Bacon King because, let's face it, anything called the Bacon King isn't going to do your arteries any favors. The King's answer to Wendy's signature Baconator doesn't mess around. The Bacon King is 1,313 calories worth of happiness that comes in the shape of 2 flame-grilled patties, a whole bunch of cheese, a hearty portion of smoked bacon, and some mayo and ketchup. Does it look as good live as it does in the ads? Of course not. Does it always contain an absurd amount of bacon? Hard to say, seeing as a hearty portion can mean a whole lot of things. Is it as good as the Baconator? The jury is out. Still, one thing is certain. A well-made Bacon King is one of the more pleasant ways to keep things unhealthy. Many items on Burger King's breakfast menu skew toward decent rather than truly delicious. However, there's no denying that their croissant is pretty amazing. And since we're talking about fast food breakfast, the wandering eye gazes naturally toward the meatier options, like the bacon, sausage, egg, and cheese croissant. This fully loaded croissant hits the palate like a tasty, flaky brick, allowing you to savor every single one of its 577 calories. On paper, there's no point in chicken fries, which are basically just long nuggets. Yet therein lies the thrill. The chain's nugget breading game might be a bit weak, but the chicken fries breading is on point, which is great, seeing as they offer a pretty impressive breading to chicken ratio. They're also a delight to dip thanks to the long shape. Also, let's face it, that container is hilarious. All in all, the chicken fries are perfect proof that sometimes food can just be fun, and it's enough to land it at a good spot on this list. Remember what we said about the Sourdough King earlier? Turns out all that goes right out the window when a second beef patty enters the fray. As the Triple Whopper taught us, the art of the Burger King hamburger is a delicate one, and the beef to everything else ratio needs to be balanced just so in order to provide optimal fast food enjoyment. The Double Sourdough King manages to do exactly this, courtesy of the extra patty and the accompanying second slice of American cheese. This simple addition manages to magically turn a mildly disappointing menu item into fast food royalty. Granted, there are caveats when it comes to selecting this menu item. The bread still tastes a lot more like plain white toast than artisanal sourdough, and you might want to triple check that the toaster is working in your location before you place the order. Even so, there's something to be said about great hamburger ingredients between two slices of toasted bread. A perfectly toasted double sourdough king is just a very old-school hamburger with delicious Burger King fillings and the absolute optimal amount of beef. Burger King's signature hamburger has attained its status for a very good reason. It's incredibly good. Like almost any fast food item out there, the Whopper has a tendency to look far less impressive in your hand than it does in the product images. But fortunately, this doesn't affect the taste. The flame-grilled patty is exactly what you expect and hope for, and the interplay between its taste and the freshness of the lettuce and tomatoes works like a dream.
You see, Eddie, it takes two hands to handle a Whopper.
The texture game is on point too, thanks to the much-needed crunch from the pickles and onions. Meanwhile, the ketchup and mayo tie a neat little flavor bow around the package. It's so good that you don't even need to add cheese, bacon, or any of the usual suspects, though none of them take away from the taste of the original, only add to it. Granted, a Whopper will never fool you to believe that you're eating anything other than a fast food chain burger. Then again, it doesn't have to. Like all good dishes, the Whopper knows exactly what it is and what it needs to be, and Burger King has calibrated it to be just about as satisfying as a burger can be at this level. In fact, the only reason it doesn't top our list is that the company has managed to fine-tune a couple of other burgers even better. 3 burger patties are way too much. Then again, 1 patty is great, but not quite the greatest. 2 patties, on the other hand, are nothing short of perfection. The Double Whopper takes everything that's good in the Whopper and doubles down on the flame-grilled stuff to elevate the experience even further. Incidentally, it also marks a watershed moment in the Burger King menu. This is the heftiest and most opulent thing that you can order while still barely staying on the side of a normal order. But that's not to say that the Double Whopper isn't a huge calorie bomb on its own. Depending on your order, it can pack anywhere from 897 to 1,393 calories. As such, while the Double Whopper is superior to its smaller brother, it might still be wise to err to the side of a regular 1-patty Whopper, at least from time to time. Just be prepared to hear the siren call of that second patty ringing in your ears as you make the order. Burger King's famed XL offering is notorious for its 1/2 pound of meat and a beefy 1,006 calories. But it's also known for the fact that, apart from its great protein content, its buildup seems awfully similar to a certain little-known burger called the Big Mac. The Big King XL even has a secret sauce, known as the Stacker sauce, a mainstay of the Stacker line of burgers. This ultimately is what sets it apart from the Whopper line. Everything you love from Burger King is present and accounted for in the Big King XL, and the presence of the Stacker sauce brings a delicious, unexpected hint of rosemary and celery to typical secret sauce fare. You might not want to make this big boy your everyday lunch, but when you're really hungry and want the absolute best the King has to offer, look no further.
Burger King is no stranger to controversy. The fast food chain has been subjected to a whole host of scandals over the years. So keep watching for some of the biggest scandals that Burger King will never be able to live down. In 2013, the British food industry was embroiled in a nationwide scandal after it was revealed that certain foods that were advertised as containing beef actually contained traces of horse meat. The source of the contamination was believed to be a supplier used by the Silvercrest Foods plant, an Irish meat factory. Silvercrest supplied meat to a number of different companies, including, as it turned out, Burger King. At the end of January 2013, the company revealed that some of its burgers had indeed been contaminated. According to Burger King, they took immediate action once the contamination was discovered. In a statement, the company explained, "Within the last 36 hours, we have established that Silvercrest used a small percentage of beef imported from a non-approved supplier in Poland. They promised to deliver 100% British and Irish beef patties and have not done so. This is a clear violation of our specifications, and we have terminated our relationship with them."
You expect it to be 100% beef. They advertise it as 100% beef. It even says it on the box, but it's not what you're going to get.
It's probably fair to say that the Big Mac is the undisputed top dog of the burger world. It's McDonald's ace in the hole, its finest and most enduring creation. So it's perhaps not that surprising that Burger King has tried to rip it off. Initially, the Double Supreme debuted back in 1993. However, it suffered through a difficult start, so it was rebranded as the Big King in 1996. It was discontinued shortly after, which isn't much of a surprise considering that you could get pretty much the exact same thing from the McDonald's down the street. But then the Big King returned to stores in 2013. It was practically identical to the Big Mac in composition. 3 layers of bun, patties, cheese, onion, pickles, and a special sauce. But there was a difference in flavor. According to a review by Serious Eats, the Big King sauce was overwhelmingly sweet, while the patties tasted, quote, like fake smoke. And that wasn't the only pan. Publication after publication framed the Big King as a Big Mac ripoff. So it's fair to say that the Big King was far from a runaway success. In April 2012, a Burger King commercial starring legendary R&B singer Mary J. Blige leaked onto the internet. The ad featured Blige singing about Burger King's fried chicken wrap to the tune of her song Don't Mind. Alas, the spot attracted a heap of criticism for playing into African American stereotypes, and Burger King immediately pulled it from the airwaves. The company quickly offered an apology to Blige in a statement saying, "We would like to apologize to Mary J. and all of her fans for airing an ad that was not final. We know how important Mary J. is to her fans, and we are currently in the process of finalizing the commercial. We hope to have the final ad on the air soon." Blige herself then publicly opened up about the commercial during an appearance on Hot 97's Angie Martinez show. She admitted, "Oh my god, my heart dropped down to my stomach. I got this sweat and I said real calm, this too shall pass. But it just kept getting worse and worse and worse."
And all I could see is Burger King and chicken and buffoonery. And I'm like, what the heck? What? And wow. And it just broke my heart.
Blige claimed that she had originally been told the ad would be part of a, quote, fun and creative campaign. But she argued that it was shot in an entirely different way than what she had expected. Another controversy arose from a 2017 Burger King ad campaign when the company released a commercial that, depending on whom you asked, was either deeply insidious or absolute genius. The ad featured a Burger King employee standing behind the counter who informed viewers that 15 seconds isn't enough to tell us about all the fresh ingredients in the Whopper. But then he presented a workaround.
Okay, Google, what is the Whopper burger?
The idea behind the campaign was that upon hearing the ad, viewers' Google Home devices would then read out the Whopper's Wikipedia page. Aside from the fact that a commercial controlling a device inside someone's home is seriously creepy, problems arose for Burger King when it became clear that Google had not been consulted about the ad. Shortly after it was released, Google inserted a block into their software that prevented the commercial from working. Then again, it wasn't all bad for the fast food chain. Later that year, it won a marketing award for the stunt at the Cannes Lions, the advertising industry's biggest annual event. One jury member even described the commercial as, quote, the best abuse of technology. In case you've never encountered one before, the Burger King croissant is basically what it sounds like, a combination of a croissant and a sandwich. It usually contains sausage, bacon, or ham, with eggs and cheese stuffed between a croissant. Despite being an enduring breakfast item for the company, it courted controversy back in 2017, when customers noticed they'd been charged too much for them. Specifically, a Burger King customer named Coletta Anderson, who had purchased a croissant on a 2-for-1 deal, filed a class action suit against the company. She alleged that BK had inflated prices on the item for customers who took the deal. Basically, if you bought yourself 2 croissants with a buy one get one coupon, you ended up paying more money than you would if you bought one without the coupon, meaning that the company essentially lied about the deal. Anderson herself had been charged $3.19 for 2 sandwiches under the BOGO deal, but was later charged $2.16 for just the one. The same thing happened at multiple Burger King stores. The dispute went to court, and while the court didn't rule that any party was in the right, Burger King quickly settled and agreed to pay any affected customer $5 or a $2 gift card. Here's yet another scandal-ridden advertisement. In this case, controversy swirled around BK's Whopper Sacrifice campaign, which offered Facebook users a free Whopper if they delete 10 friends from their Facebook pages. And the kicker was that the app would then message each of those 10 friends, telling them that your friendship to them was worth only 1/10 the price of a hamburger. which in fairness is downright genius. Pure, horrible, evil genius. Interestingly enough, the campaign was hugely successful. It was installed 60,000 times in just a few days. Almost 20,000 coupons were given out, and well over 200,000 people were deleted as friends. As far as ad campaigns went, it couldn't have gone much better. Unfortunately, Facebook then decided to step in. The company disabled the Whopper Sacrifice app, claiming that it was a violation of user privacy because of the message that was sent to each unfriended user. Matt Walsh, head of the interaction design department at the agency that created the ad, later told the crowd at a Web 2.0 Expo event some people thought it was a little brutal. Yeah, just a little. This next marketing calamity happened in the middle of 2018, when the company began a campaign that offered a free lifetime supply of Whoppers to any Russian women who got pregnant by players in the 2018 World Cup. According to a post from the company's Russian-language Twitter page, the promise included the reward of 3 million rubles, or about $64,000. It would go to the women who got the quote best football genes, and thereby ensured the future success of the Russian team for generations. Predictably, people got a little upset over this. After a flurry of criticism, which denounced the ad as misogynistic and humiliating, Burger King was forced to issue an apology via a statement that read, "We are sorry about the clearly offensive promotion that the team in Russia launched online. The offer does not reflect our brand or our values, and we are taking steps to ensure this type of activity does not happen again." Everyone's heard of a Happy Meal, but how about a real meal? That's what Burger King started hawking in early 2019 as part of its never-ending war against McDonald's. This was part of a mental health awareness campaign that offered a range of real meals, including the Blue Meal, Yas Meal, Piss Meal, Salty Meal, and DGAF Meal. A tie-in video ad used the tagline, "No one is happy all the time, and that's okay." While some people gave credit to Burger King for attempting to raise awareness of mental health issues, others were considerably less impressed by the real meals, claiming that the company was attempting to profit off the delicate subject. One Twitter user wrote, "First, good on Burger King for attempting to start a conversation about mental health, but using mental health awareness as a gimmick to market food and getting a dig at McDonald's seems incredibly unreal." Some mental health experts disagreed, however. Tiffany Huth, director of communications of the Association for Behavioral Health and Wellness, said, "This is the way they communicate and talk. You have to speak to people in a way they understand, and in a way they feel comfortable and safe, and in a way they can relate to."
I do appreciate that they're raising awareness about this.
DJ Sakrakar has a PhD in neuroscience from Vanderbilt. He's studied mental health.
While the Real Meals campaign might not have been as bad as it first appeared, it's clear that Burger King is still struggling to run a marketing campaign without angering some people. In 2019, a trend spread throughout the United Kingdom and the United States in which protesters and activists would throw milkshakes at certain right-wing figures. In the UK, this happened to both the far-right activist Stephen Yaxley-Lennon and Brexit Party leader Nigel Farage. These tactics were already controversial enough without the input of an international burger company, but Burger King decided to wade in nonetheless. After a branch of McDonald's gave in to a police request to stop selling milkshakes and ice cream on the day of a Nigel Farage rally in Edinburgh, Burger King took to Twitter to post, "Dear people of Scotland, we're selling milkshakes all weekend. Have fun, love BK." According to the Advertising Standards Authority, 24 people complained about the tweet, arguing that it encouraged violence against political figures. Burger King actually stood its ground this time, insisting that the tweet was intended to be tongue-in-cheek, and posting a follow-up tweet that read, "We'd never endorse violence or wasting our delicious milkshakes. Make of that what you will." This last controversy arose in 2019 when Burger King launched its version of the Meatless Impossible Burger, which is a traditional Burger King burger featuring a 0% beef patty. Initially, this may seem pretty admirable, since it represents a sincere attempt by the company to offer a fully meatless imitation meat product, a rarity at most fast food chains until recently. Unfortunately, the company Impossible Foods, which provides the fake meat for these products, and its competitor Beyond Meat quickly came into some serious criticism from a number of different groups. The CEOs of both Whole Foods and Chipotle criticized the companies for making their fake meat too highly processed, while a range of articles by a variety of publications have questioned the potential health impact of their products, as they tend to be too high-calorie, greasy, and not a good everyday eating option. All that controversy, though, was nothing compared to when the public learned that the Impossible Whopper wasn't really fully vegan or even vegetarian, due to the fact that it's cooked on the same grill as real meat. Of course, Burger King never claimed that it was, but that didn't stop the meat-free portion of the public from feeling a bit tricked.
And how are you going to prove how much meat by product is actually on this surface, Impossible Burger?
Yeah. Fries may be the standard fast food go-to, but Burger King has been offering customers an onion ring option for years. These onion rings aren't without controversy, though, and are actually missing a major component. Here's what you should know about Burger King's onion rings. Burger King understands the moment of panic at the drive-thru window when you're frantically trying to decide between fries and onion rings, wishing desperately that you could have both without paying double the price or consuming double the oil. As it turns out, you can. Burger King's secret hackable menu includes Frings, an order made up of both fries and onion rings so you don't have to choose. An order of Frings gets you a container half full fries and the other half full of Burger King's infamous onion rings. Though Frings aren't on Burger King's regular menu, they are popular among those in the know, and for good reason. While Burger King's onion rings are among the best in the fast food world, their fries can hold their own against many of their deep-fried competitors, and it would be something akin to heresy to order fast food without fries on the side. The King is a benevolent one. Like many items on Burger King's menu, onion rings are not the healthiest food you could put in your body. While the onion rings lack the excess fat and calories that larger Burger King meals contain, their vegetarian status does not exempt them from other health hazards, particularly sodium. While some sodium is necessary for the body to perform certain important functions, most Americans consistently take in far more sodium than is healthy. The average recommended amount of sodium is less than 2,300 milligrams per day, and most Americans consume more than 3,400 daily. Each small serving of Burger King onion rings contains 840 milligrams of salt, which accounts for about 37% of the daily recommended sodium intake in a side dish. Add a burger to the order, and one meal quickly goes above and beyond the recommended sodium intake for the day. While many fast food joints have different menu items depending on where you are in the world, Burger King onion rings remain a constant no matter what corner of the planet you're in. Burger King serves spicy shrimp Whoppers in its Japan locations, and taro pie, a turnover-style dessert stuffed with taro, a root vegetable similar to a potato, in Malaysia. Burger King classics, however, are consistent among the franchise's nearly 19,000 restaurants scattered across the world. So no matter where you are in the world, Burger King onion rings won't be far. Although Burger King onion rings may taste like onion, these deep-fried treats do not actually contain full slices of onion inside. Burger King has managed to get away with it by using a kind of powdered onion flavor instead of the real thing. The result of BK's dehydrated onions is, according to some, a paste-like texture whose flavor is onion-adjacent, but not nearly intense enough to be mistaken for an actual onion. Others claim the onion flavor makes for an unnatural taste, as though some onion powder sprinkled into the batter was the extent of the effort made to legitimize the onion of the onion rings. Though Burger King was not the first fast food joint to create a dollar menu, it jumped on the bandwagon in 1998 with a menu that featured 7 items for 99 cents each. On that original menu, which was deemed the Great Tastes menu, were onion rings. While the Burger King value menu has changed over the years, providing diners with new and improved options that have remained at or around $1 per item, onion rings have remained a permanent fixture among a rotating cast of ingredients and combos. Though Burger King was in competition with several other fast food locations that boasted value menus with a variety of dishes, very few of those chains included onion rings. To this day, Burger King still stands out from the crowd by simply giving the people what they want: deep-fried onion flavor that won't break the bank.
We're getting the onion rings?
Hell yes, we're doing onion rings.
Cool wife.
Burger King offers 6 sauces with their meals, all of which can be put to good use with an order of onion rings: buffalo, barbecue, ranch, sweet and sour, honey mustard, or BK's famous zesty sauce, a creamy horseradish-based dip. While everyone has their personal sauce allegiances, Burger King's zesty sauce is a company specialty whose tangy, oniony taste pairs perfectly with the onion rings it was made for. Still, if you're looking for a more traditional dip, Burger King's ranch is a top-rate option, according to Thrillist, who ranked condiments from across a variety of different fast food stops and found BK's ranch earned a spot in the top 20.
I'm getting strawberry. I'm getting kiwi. I'm getting a big hit of kiwi. Big hit of kiwi.
In November 2019, many people were forced to eat their onion rings naked due to a shortage of zesty sauce across stores. Due to an early snowfall, it became impossible to harvest much of the horseradish crop. Eric Rigg, president of Silver Springs Food, told the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel, "We think these are new weather patterns that will not go away." Climate change has made it necessary for many farmers, from huge factory farms to smaller locally owned and operated ones, to adjust how and when they plant, harvest, and distribute the food they produce. But just because climate change demands these adaptations does not mean consumers will be happy about it. Zesty sauce fans complained on Twitter, decrying Burger King's neglect. However, plenty of onion rings continue to be consumed. Burger King's rodeo products have gone through various transformations over the years. What started as a limited-time rodeo cheeseburger became, after a few years, the rodeo crispy chicken and the rodeo burger, the latter of which made a comeback in June of 2019. But through it all, these specialty options have stayed true to the ingredient that makes them unique: onion rings. We're assuming the smoky barbecue sauce is what gives this special its name, and when paired with the onion rings, the burger certainly has a Western flair.
Yahoo! That's a good Yahoo, son.
The crispiness of the rings give this burger great texture, and the barbecue sauce's sweetness adds a new dimension to Burger King's classic patty. Though we wouldn't necessarily recommend ordering onion rings alongside the rodeo burger due to all the extra sodium you're sure to consume, we certainly wouldn't dissuade you from it. It's important to follow your onion-happy heart. June 22nd is National Onion Ring Day, so in solidarity with all onion ring eaters dismayed to discover their local fast food joint does not serve their favorite deep-fried side, in 2018, Burger King offered free onion rings to their customers in exchange for a carton of French fries from their fast food competitors. Whether Burger King employees kept the fries for themselves or threw them out in support of the superior side was not determined. Burger King's promotional move made clear the company's dedication to their onion rings and to the people who love them. Though this offer was valid in only select locations in Chicago, Los Angeles, New York, and Lynn, Massachusetts, the message was clear: onion rings for the people. There are few joys as simple and pure as the phenomenon of the ringer. Urban Dictionary defines a ringer in the following manner. At Burger King, when you order a side of fries, sometimes you accidentally get an onion ring in there. This is called a ringer. Imagine driving away from Burger King, a burger and fries in the bag beside you. You wonder briefly if you should have ordered onion rings instead, but it's too late now. As you snack on fries and drive with one hand, you come across something unexpected in the bag of fries: a small onion ring separated from the others to find its way into your bag. It's a tiny miracle, as well as a necessary reprieve from the monotony of one fry after another. It is truly an experience not to be taken for granted. So the next time you come across a stray onion ring in your fries, say a prayer, do a dance, and thank that big-headed king of burgers while you savor this moment of ecstasy. In 2017, Lord admitted to being the mastermind behind the now-defunct Instagram account Onion Rings Worldwide, which rated onion rings from different locations on a scale of 1 to 5. Burger King scored on the low side, very low. Lord wrote, quote, "They are not good." She then said that she was glad she hadn't known Burger King served onion rings because of how disappointing they ended up. Lord gave them a whopping 1 point. The pop star will not be fooled by Burger King's fake onion filling, and she's not afraid to say it. To voice her dismay, the pop star wrote on an Instagram caption of the King's rings, quote, "Characteristics were a mulched onion filling." Apparently a big fan of onion rings, Lord was not impressed by Burger King. While other restaurants received high praise, the overall flavor of BK's onion ring was described as having, quote, "a distinct bitterness." Harsh criticism, but if Lord says it, it must be true.
What does a slice of cheese, an order of nuggets, and your liter of cola have in common? They all seem inexpensive, but actually have a much higher cost than you might think. Here's why Burger King is so cheap. Just like other fast food chains, Burger King only sells menu items that make the franchise cold, hard cash. This also means that the chain only stocks a limited inventory of ingredients that it repeatedly uses to make different meals. For example, when Burger King introduced its tacos in 2002, a rather surprising offering for the franchise at the time, it didn't have to invest in a lot of additional ingredients since it already used lettuce, tomatoes, and cheese in other menu items. Additionally, in 2021, Burger King announced that it will reduce its already limited list of menu items in the US to speed up its drive-thru service and increase its sales. The average markup for a product is 100%, but some items are sold at much more than their actual worth. The average markup on a restaurant soda is a massive 1,150%, since it's nothing more than a mix of syrup and carbonated water. As such, it's little wonder that Burger King makes so much money on the product. Other cost-effective items are ice cream and fries, since they can be made in large quantities and aren't labor-intensive. Burger King has been luring customers to its restaurants with low-priced menu items for years.
Do you want to dip size your meal for a quarter more?
Want me to punch size your face for free?
In 2021, Burger King launched its $1 Your Way menu, consisting of 4 items priced at just $1. While savvy customers will stop at ordering a $1 burger, an item said to bring Burger King only 6 cents, most will also spend money on soft drinks and fries, the 2 most heavily marked up items at Burger King. Burger King's seemingly affordable kids' meals also bring in adults who are bound to purchase more expensive items from the menu for themselves. This strategy also sets kids up as future customers of the franchise, and the King doesn't seem to deny this ploy. According to the Burger King website, by trying the kids' meals, you can find your favorite flavor early in life. While they may appear to be a cheap addition to your main meal, side dishes such as chicken nuggets or mozzarella sticks bring in a lot of profit for Burger King. This is because sides are usually tiny and prepared in bulk, which makes them both cheap to produce and fast to serve. In addition, opting to add so-called staples such as French fries or a soft drink to your burger takes the franchise's profits to another level. Burger King also makes plenty of money on an item that at a first glance may not even appear to be an extra: cheese. While the Burger King website depicts a cheesy Whopper, the burger doesn't actually come with cheese, and the addition will cost you dearly. Jeffrey James from Inc. explains, "I recently ordered a Whopper and, as usual, the order taker asked, 'Do you want cheese with that?' Rather than answering, I asked, 'How much does the cheese cost?' The answer was 50 cents. Cheese doesn't even appear on the menu as an add-on, nor as a separate item on the receipt, so unless you ask or see this video, you'll never find out how much it actually costs." Most people order a value meal thinking they're saving money, when they're actually getting additional items that they may not have ordered otherwise, usually French fries and soda, both of which are huge moneymakers for the franchise. Let's do the math. Or at least let's do the rough math. A Whopper Jr. value meal costs a bit over $5. If you were to buy these items separately, you would pay a little over $2 for the Whopper Jr. and around $3.50 for the soft drink and the small fries. Basically, you're saving about 50 cents with the value meal and getting items you might not even want. Fast food joints often run a variety of marketing campaigns, such as price discount coupons or 2-for-1 offers. While these may sound appealing, sometimes restaurants don't actually deliver on the promise. And Burger King is a case in point. In 2018, the franchise was sued for charging customers more for 2 croissant breakfast sandwiches with a BOGO coupon than they would have otherwise paid for a single item. Perhaps one of the biggest reasons why Burger King is able to keep its prices so low is the sheer quantity of food sold. With thousands of restaurants worldwide, the chain's profits are all about scale. The franchise also makes a lot of its money by selling discounted items, using a concept called elasticity of demand. As the BBC explains, if the firm lowers price 5% and quantity sold rises by 10%, then demand is elastic and total revenue will rise. One of the reasons why Burger King's items are so cheap is the company's ability to buy ingredients in bulk, ensuring huge discounts. Since nobody wants to lose a client as big as Burger King, the franchise has huge negotiation power when it comes to prices, and the franchise often looks to outside markets to source their ingredients. Burger King's sourcing practices have backfired in the past. A few years ago, Burger King was linked with a company in Brazil that grazes cattle on protected forest land. The franchise received an F in the 2021 Chain Reaction Report for not taking public actions regarding antibiotics in their supply chains. In 2013, the franchise's beef was put into question after a European meat supplier was accused of selling horse meat advertised as beef. Like its fast food competitors, Burger King uses cheap labor.
A what?
A liter of cola?
Liter of cola? Do we make liter of cola?
Burger King pays its team members $9.73 per hour. So if a Burger King employee puts in 40 hours per week, 52 weeks a year, their annual pay will clock in at $20,238, less than half of the median annual wage in the U.S. So it's not surprising that in 2021, the entire staff at a Burger King in Nebraska resigned, leaving a sign outside the restaurant that read, "We all quit. Sorry for the inconvenience. In an attempt to cut their employee expenses even further, Burger King recently started installing self-service kiosks at its stores. The manager of Burger King at the Manchester airport, Wayne Taylor, said, "They've increased our productivity 10 times. We have more staff to assemble the orders, we can increase the speed of service and general productivity within the unit."
Over the course of its nearly 70-year history, Burger King has changed out its menu in a variety of ways. What was on the BK menu when you were born? Here's a look at how the Burger King menu has evolved since the 1950s. In 1953, Burger King was launched in Jacksonville, Florida. At the time, the restaurant was called Instaburger King, a name that the founders derived from a special kind of grilling machine, the Instabroiler. The Instabroiler was a futuristic piece of kitchen tech that cooked burger patties via radiant heat while toasting the burger buns simultaneously. The founders claimed that the appliance could cook 400 burgers per hour and that it ensured each burger was cooked uniformly, while retaining the meat's juices and preventing patty shrinkage. The menu, though, at that time did not include the Whopper. It would be a few years until that appeared on the Instaburger King menu. Instead, diners found 18-cent burgers alongside milkshakes, french fries, and fruit pies. The Instaburger King Whopper appeared on the menu in 1957. Compared to the original 18-cent burger, the Whopper featured a larger patty and was topped with a special sauce, cheese, lettuce, tomato, and pickles. The larger burger came with a larger price tag, too, a whopping 37 cents. At the time, the Instaburger King restaurants still used the Instabroiler for cooking up its burger patties, but that would change when 2 franchise owners bought out the entire Instaburger King company in 1959 and switched all locations over to a gas grill contraption of their own creation, which they called a flame broiler. What exactly was it? Essentially, it was a broiler with a flame grill inside. You load patties onto a tray, insert them into the broiler, and then the flame grill does all the cooking. In addition to this major change, the new owners of the company would change up the BK name, dropping the Insta from the beginning just as easily as they dropped the Instabroiler from their kitchens. For the next 2 decades, the Burger King menu would remain much the same, with the Whopper taking center stage.
Yes, sir. May I help you?
Well, I'll have a Whopper, some fries, and a strawberry shake.
As other fast food chains began to expand their menus in the late 1970s and early 1980s, Burger King realized it would need to do much the same if it wanted to remain relevant against competitors such as McDonald's and Wendy's. So, new menu items were added, mostly thanks to new executives. At the time, Burger King was owned by Pillsbury, and the company brought in a previous McDonald's executive to both crack down on wayward franchisees and bring Burger King into a new age, a task that included several new menu items as well as international expansion. In order to appeal to an older demographic, Burger King introduced an array of new sandwiches to go alongside its burgers, including a fish sandwich, chicken sandwich, ham and cheese sandwich, and steak sandwich. The effort boosted restaurant traffic by 15%. Then, in response to McDonald's offering breakfast, Burger King began breakfast testing as well, though it would be a few years before the chain would stumble upon a winning breakfast formula. Burger King's breakfast success finally happened in 1983 when the croissantwich made its appearance. Still popular today, the croissantwich is and was exactly what it sounds like, a breakfast sandwich that uses a croissant as a bun. The croissantwich comes in several varieties, including sausage, bacon, and ham options, all with egg and cheese. But the breakfast success didn't end there. In 1985, Burger King introduced its French toast sticks, proving that Americans were interested in a French-inspired fast food breakfast. One big success for BK in the mid-1980s, chicken tenders. Introduced in 1986, chicken tenders were an immediate hit at Burger King locations, so much so that restaurants couldn't keep up with demand and the restaurant had to cancel a $30 million ad campaign introducing the menu item. In 1987, Burger King turned its attention to a new competitor, White Castle. Where Burger King had always gone big before, it now needed to go small in an effort to compete against a growing fast food giant. So it introduced burger bundles, sliders that came in quantities of 6 and were topped with mustard, ketchup, and pickles.
The tasty mini cheeseburgers, only at Burger King.
But while the burger bundles were popular with kids, and Burger King even introduced a chicken variant, there was a problem. The smaller-sized slider patties didn't work well in the automated flame broiler, and so Burger King soon canceled the burger bundles, making it one of the biggest flops in Burger King history. However, Burger King would go on to reintroduce the same concept as Burger Buddies, which were 2 small sliders connected together that you could tear apart. While the Burger Buddies were also discontinued, Burger King would revisit the slider concept time and time again. For the early 90s, Burger King made an attempt to slim down when it introduced its very first broiled, non-breaded chicken sandwich in 1990, the BK Broiler. Served on an oat bran roll, the menu addition was a stark contrast to a lot of the chicken products that were available from other fast food chains. As such, it was an immediate hit, selling at a rate of 1 million BK broilers per day just a month after the sandwich's launch, compared to Burger King's rate of selling 2 million Whoppers per day at the same time. However, this success would not last forever. By 1992, sales for the BK broiler would be slashed in half, with 500,000 chicken sandwiches being sold per day, while Whopper sales remained consistent. But the 1990s weren't only about healthy options for Burger King. In 1997, Burger King introduced the Big King with 2 burger patties, 2 slices of cheese, lettuce, onions, pickles, and king sauce. The Big King was immediately advertised as a competitor to the Big Mac, with ads noting,
It's like a Big Mac, except it's bigger and tastes better.
In 2002, Burger King announced the largest new product and new menu launch in the brand's history, all thanks to the 99-cent BK Value Menu. When introduced, the Value Menu included 11 different items, all of which cost 99 cents. However, the Value Menu wasn't just a compilation of various items already on the regular Burger King menu. It also included 6 new menu items that had never before appeared in Burger King dining rooms or drive-thrus. New items included a grilled sourdough burger, 2 kinds of tacos, beef chili, and baked potatoes, alongside already established Burger King favorites such as milkshakes, onion rings, french fries, and chicken tenders. Much like in the previous decade, in the early 2000s, Burger King decided to go healthy with the introduction of a new low-fat baguette-style chicken sandwich, as well as a low-carb burger. The former was created with baguettes baked fresh in each restaurant. Additionally, the baguette-style chicken sandwich only contained 5 grams of fat and was created in response to McDonald's and Wendy's having success with their low-calorie menu options, like full-size salads. The low-carb burger wasn't quite groundbreaking, however. It was simply a regular Whopper with the bun removed, and all of the ingredients served stacked in a plastic tray with a plastic knife and fork. The early 2000s were a busy time in terms of Burger King menu changes overall, though, with other additions to the menu including a new Tender Crisp sandwich and an Angus burger. In the mid-2000s, Burger King became a bit more creative with its new menu items, for better or for worse. It introduced an Angus Shroom and Swiss steak burger, as well as an Italian chicken sandwich. The former was simply a regular burger with the addition of Swiss cheese and sautéed mushrooms, while the latter was the restaurant's normal chicken sandwich topped with tomato sauce and mozzarella cheese. In 2005, Burger King also introduced a new breakfast sandwich, the Enormous Omelette Sandwich, which was truly enormous. The Mammoth Egg Sandwich featured 2 eggs, 3 strips of bacon, an oblong sausage patty, and 2 slices of American cheese. Unfortunately, the hefty sandwich also came with a lot of calories, 730 compared to a Whopper's 700. But according to Burger King, surveys were showing that consumers wanted bigger sandwiches. In the late 2000s, Burger King decided to return to a popular favorite menu item, the Burger Bundles and Burger Buddies. The newly named Burger Shots were simply rehashes of the previous Burger King sliders from the 1980s. You could order the Burger Shots as a meal for 2 sliders with french fries and a soft drink, or in a 6-pack. The 6-pack, similar to the Burger Buddies, featured 1 large connected patty that you had to tear apart, along with the buns. The Burger Shots were topped with ketchup and a pickle, and you could add cheese for a fee. In 2010, Burger King once again turned to one of its competitors for inspiration, which resulted in the birth of Burger King Ribs, an interestingly successful alternative to McDonald's McRib sandwich. The offering was a serving of 8 St. Louis-style pork spare ribs, and somewhat surprisingly, consumers loved them a lot. Burger King sold 10 million ribs and then ran low a week before the limited-time offer was intended to end, both on the ribs and on their special packaging. By the time 2013 rolled around, it was time for Burger King's health push for the decade. This time, the brand decided to offer a turkey burger and something it called Satis Fries. As for the fries, well, they didn't quite satisfy, and franchisees would later dump them from their menus on an individual basis. The more expensive Satis Fries were coated with a different batter than the regular BK fries, which the brand said made it harder for the fries to soak up oil while frying. Still, a small serving of the fries came with 270 calories. The turkey burger was pitched as an alternative to both the Whopper and a market saturated by chicken sandwiches by the mid-2010s. Burger King at the time was the largest fast food chain to offer a turkey burger, though it wasn't the first. That was Carl's Jr. and Hardee's a few years earlier. While Burger King had initially said that the new menu item had potential as a permanent menu fixture, sales weren't strong enough to make it happen. More flops were in Burger King's future later on in the decade. The Whopperito was a huge failure, with a Newsweek article loudly proclaiming, "Burger King's new Whopperito is as disgusting as it looks." The burger meets burrito was pretty simple: beef, lettuce, tomato, onion, and pickle, all together in a tortilla along with a cheese sauce. Burger King introduced the item as its first Tex-Mex option, seeing as the Tex-Mex fast food category was one of the fastest growing in the biz. Then there were the Mac and Cheetos, which were essentially Cheetos filled with macaroni and cheese. Newsweek called the product, quote, gross. Burger King also came out with hot dogs in 2016. Their hot dogs were successful at first, with 80 to 120 hot dogs selling per store per day. However, it seems like after consumers overcame the novelty aspect of the dogs, they decided they just weren't that good, and the hot dogs were discontinued. Over the last several years, Burger King has had some contrastingly successful menu changes. In 2018, the chain released its own spicy chicken sandwich, which received high marks. Topped with iceberg lettuce, mayonnaise, and a tomato, and heavily breaded, the BK spicy chicken sandwich is strongly spicy and comes in a junior version as well. A year later, in 2019, Burger King went plant-based with its Impossible Whopper. The sandwiches were a huge success, leading to the chain's strongest growth in years. Unfortunately, Burger King's Impossible Whopper did have some controversy surrounding it, and even caused a lawsuit, because despite some misleading advertising, the sandwich is not vegan. Still, that didn't stop Burger King from going on to release a plant-based breakfast sandwich later in the year. Also in 2019, Burger King had a hit on its hands with its bacon cheesy tots. This menu item is exactly what you'd think: tots filled with bacon and cheese and fried. They're also served with a side of ranch dressing.
From the king who arrived late to the Whopper that wasn't, let's take a look at some of the juiciest royal secrets about Burger King's flame-broiled ascendance to the fast food throne. The fan-fueled rivalry between McDonald's and Burger King is as classic as the ones between the Red Sox and the Yankees, or the Hatfields and the McCoys. Comparisons between the two date back to the earliest days in Burger King's almost 70-year history. The restaurant's co-founders were deliberately seeking to replicate the success of its golden-arched older sibling.
Marsha!
It all started when Keith Kramer and his wife's uncle, Matthew Burns, visited a McDonald's location in California. That sparked them to create a burger shop that was almost identical to McDonald's, and that may be why the two chains are still closely compared today. In fact, Burger King added grease to the rivalry fire in the 70s by publicly challenging the size of McDonald's hamburgers.
When I order a regular burger at McDonald's, they make it with 20% less meat than Burger King.
The skirmish was dubbed the Burger Wars. Ultimately, McDonald's remains top dog in fast food to this day. Still, the fight's not over yet. There's no shortage of customers with opinions about which place offers the best hamburgers, french fries, or milkshakes. But let's face it, the menus are quite similar. And though it has a technically smaller footprint, Burger King has claimed that it offers higher quality ingredients. By all accounts, the rivalry is still growing strong. Of course, there was no Siri in 1953. But if there were, you would have had trouble finding the first Burger King no matter how clearly you tried to speak. That's because the name was slightly different. When Kramer and Burns set out to open their McDonald's-inspired burger restaurant, they looked for ways to set it apart. One answer was found in an innovative machine called an Instaburger that could produce multiple hamburgers in an instant. This speedy machine inspired the name Instaburger King. However, Instaburger King didn't see the success as Kramer and Burns expected. After the company was bought out, the Insta part of the name was dropped. The restaurant became the Burger King we know so well today. It may seem like such a simple matter, yet there is some confusion about the first official Burger King location. Some sources claim that the Instaburger King opened by Kramer and Burns appeared in Jacksonville, Florida. Others believe that Burger King's first location was in Miami. If we're literal about the name, the first official Burger King opened its doors in Miami. James McLemore and Dave Edgerton founded the Burger King Corporation in 1954 along with a business partner. They were running the newly opened Miami location. However, the Instaburger King location opened a year earlier in Jacksonville, operated by Kramer and Burns. It would expand with additional locations built within the first year. Now, if you check the Burger King website, it says the company was founded in 1954. Technically, that's not the whole story. This launch would only have happened if the Jacksonville location had made its debut in 1953. The true origins of the restaurant chain might come down to who you ask. Just when you thought the fight was over, a third contestant just entered the game to claim the throne as the first Burger King. If the confusion between Jacksonville and Miami wasn't enough, wait until we add the seemingly humble Burger King of Mattoon, Illinois as a topping. Years before the first Insta-Burger King in 1953, Betty and Jean Hoots ran an ice cream shop in Mattoon called Frigid Queen. When they decided to offer additional food items, they opened a burger shop. They thought the queen needed a king, so they called it Burger King. They then moved forward to copyright the name in the state. Meanwhile, a burger empire was brewing down south. The other Burger King's success in Florida meant that it was now looking to expand across the country. The Florida-based chain opened its first Illinois location in the town of Skokie in 1961. The Mattoon Burger King sued the corporate giant in what would be known as Burger King of Florida, Inc. vs. Hoots. In a true David and Goliath turn of events, the Mattoon location won its battle. To this day, no corporate Burger King can open within a 20-mile radius of the family-owned business. The closest Burger King to Mattoon is currently 23 miles away. The original co-founders of Insta-Burger King, Kramer and Burns, quickly found out that their burger business needed additional support to grow and compete. Within its first year, they hit a financial rough patch. So when Macklemore and Edgerton offered $20,000 for the Miami location, it was a pivotal moment. That 1954 purchase officially transformed the struggling business into the Burger King we know today. In 1967, they sold Burger King to Pillsbury for $18 million. Burger King has changed hands several times since. As of 2021, the fast food chain is owned by Restaurant Brands. Insta-Burger King came along during a time of changing consumer habits in fast casual dining. On the West Coast, the newly opened In-N-Out Burger Shop introduced an innovative two-way speaker box system that revolutionized drive-thru dining. Convenience was king. Customers wanted to streamline the dining experience, businesses were looking for ways to cut back on costs. When Insta-Burger King first opened, it branded itself as a self-service restaurant. You would pay using a ticket system, similar to how you might have gone to a movie theater in that era. You simply walked up to one window to order, then moved to another to pick up your freshly prepared meal. A key component of Insta-Burger King's promise of streamlined food ordering was the flagship machine mentioned earlier, the Insta Broiler. Kramer and Burns bought the rights to the device when they launched their business venture. About 400 hamburgers rolled off its endless chain system per hour with 12 burger baskets that brought burger patties into the oven. Once in the oven, it took 1 minute and 45 seconds to cook the patty and toast the buns. The Insta Broiler was the only machine Insta-Burger King needed in its locations because of the volume it produced. The machine was also praised for keeping its environment grease and smoke-free. Burger King eventually improved on the Insta Broiler and replaced it with a gas grill called the Flame Broiler. Burger King also made milkshakes as convenient to order and receive as hamburgers. If you wanted a cold, refreshing frozen beverage to go with your meal, the milkshake making process was as streamlined thanks to a device called the InstaShake. In 1 minute, the InstaShake machine could mix, freeze, and whip all the liquid ingredients for approximately 3 milkshakes. However, while the Insta Broiler used an endless chain system, the InstaShake machine required an operator to switch out the cups for each shake.
What you are witnessing, dear friends, is the most enormous miracle of the machine age. The creation of a confectionery giant.
The InstaShake was indeed a marvel at the time for its ability to run continuously during operating hours. The machine could produce up to 4 different milkshake flavors. Burger King, like its competitors, offers menu items at low prices even today, if you're looking for a bite to eat that won't break your wallet. Low prices have been a constant for customers, going all the way back to its original Insta-Burger King location when most items sold for less than $1.25 each. A regular cheeseburger was 23 cents. If you wanted to double up on the meat patties, it would cost an extra nickel. French fries were 15 cents. A fruit pie, somewhat unique for its day, was also 15 cents. Burger King's 2 Insta items, the hamburger and milkshake, each cost 18 cents. If you ordered everything on the menus, you would pay $1.17. In 2022 dollars, that's $12.98. Burger King's original menu was relatively simple, with only a few key items on it. Notably missing from the original menu was the sandwich that gave the food chain its most enduring tagline, "Home of the Whopper." The Whopper was not introduced until 1957. Still relatively early in the company's history, the hearty two-fisted blend of a large all-beef patty, 2 tomatoes, mayonnaise, lettuce, cheese, ketchup, 4 pickles, and onions was cooked up for those too hungry for Burger King's basic hamburger. Since 1958, some familiar faces have been served up in Whopper advertising campaigns.
Take 75. Action!
In 2021, Burger King introduced its first visual redesign since 2019. Their campaign included a logo with a more minimalist look, new packaging, modified employee uniforms, and a new endorsement campaign featuring special meals. Celebrities have often been a component of Burger King advertising. The logo wasn't always so on the nose. At first, there were no burgers or kings on the logo at all. The very first logo looked like a sunrise. In a short time, it changed to simply the words Burger King. Finally, in 1955, the company introduced a royal mascot that sat on a bun. He then became a cartoon king. In the 70s, he came to life to do magic, and after that, well, then he became something completely unexplainable. After Burger King was rescued from financial problems and became Burger King in 1954, there was a period of healthy growth. By 1965, there were over 250 Burger Kings nationwide. But when McDonald's went public on the stock exchange that year, it was clear that Burger King still had a lot of catching up to do. And the rivalry continues with epic conflicts and petty jealousies. The 90s brought lower sales, flagging customer demand and roller coaster finances. After then CEO Jim Adamson initiated a Back to Basics campaign, Burger King enjoyed a 6-year growth period, even swiping some market shares from Mac You-Know-Who.
This isn't my day.
Even as recently as 2022, Burger King has sought ways to improve its brand performance overall. Business analysts are devising ways to increase sales, revitalize the company, and remain competitive. With a new emphasis on the signature Whopper and fresh ideas from a new ad agency, Burger King hopes to strengthen their hold on its fast food crown.